All right, we are back with our romper add-on for our firecracker dress. So this turns the firecracker dress into a cute little romper. So we had a video on how to do the front bodice, and then the back strap construction is the same as our dress. So if you refer to that video, it'll help you with the back strap construction. So now we are actually going to go on to the rear pieces of the romper. So I have my back pieces here. I always just leave, after I cut, I repin them to the pattern piece just so I can keep track of them and tell them apart, and I'm not searching and trying to guess which one's front and which one's back and everything like that. So okay, so we have our back piece, and so we're going to lay them right sides together again, just like we did on the front, and match up those edges right sides together again. Use as many pins and clips as you feel comfortable with. Again, I'm using the stripes, so I'll use a few more than I normally would, just because I want to make sure that my stripes stay matched up. And we are going to go just through the, so again, we're doing the curved part of the bottoms. So that's where you're going to make do your sewing here. So we'll move over to the machine here. Just give my machine over. Okay, so onto the machine here, and we will just, again, 1/4 inch seam allowance here. Okay, so that is done here. So now we have our rear piece, and again, I'm going to press that seam real quick. Doesn't matter which way you press it. Okay, so now we have our rear romper, our rear piece, and then now we have our front and our back straps. So what you're going to do, just like we do on the dress portion, so now we're basically treating this just like in the other video as the bottom of the skirt. So just match up the corners, no stretching, and just until those back straps end. And it's just, again, it's just like the back piece of the dress, the dress version. So if so I will be back with on after, so if you refer to the video on the dress on how to do your casing and your elastic and everything like that, I will be back on attaching the sides and doing the inseam after I get my casing and my elastic in, just like we do on the dress version. Okay, we have our, should have your elastic into your Firecracker Romper back. Now we're going to go to attaching the side seams and doing the inseam. But what I wanted to do real quick before I do the side seams and the inseams is on the romper, I actually like to memory press or my hem, just because it makes it easier. It makes it easier to hem it or to kind of press it again once the romper is constructed. So 1/2 inch. Started here. Okay. So I just use my hem gauge and I press in that 1/2 inch 1/2 inch memory hem on all my pieces here. Like I said, it just makes it easier, so I have that memory hem already pressed in there, so I can so once I have my side seams and my inseams sewn up, I can just real quick and especially on the smaller sizes where that kind of in the round is a little tricky to get your iron in there, kind of fit anything in those smaller leg holes. On the dress, it's not such a big deal because it's a wider opening, but with the legs of the romper, I like to press in my hem. I do that a lot. I press. I do a memory hem a lot on sleeves too. Just again to make it easier when sewing that hem. Okay, we have the one other side here. Swinging that iron around and knocking the camera. Okay. Almost got it here. And then now we're going to go on to doing our side seams. And actually the side seams are just like on the dress version. So that's not any different, but whereas normally on the dress version, once your side seams are done, you would be onto the hemming and finished. With the romper, we still have to do the inseam after our side seams are done. So we'll just do it all, and then you can move on to hemming. Or I know some testers have added trim to the bottom of their shorts, which is super cute. Kind of play around with it if you want. You can do a lattice hem on your, if you like a rolled, would be super cute too on these. And so okay, so our memory hem is all done. So what we're going to do now is it's going to be right sides together, you want to make sure that your front and back, the romper seams match up on the dress, because there's no front seam. You don't need to worry about that, but on the romper you do. And again, I have stripes, so I might use a little bit more pins to make sure that my stripes match up. My colors aren't matching up on these stripes because it didn't really matter to me. But if you wanted to, you could, when you're matching stripes and like multicolored stripes or anything like that, you could definitely make sure that all your colors matched up. But I just care that my stripes match up. It doesn't matter to me if my colors match up, if that makes any sense. And then remember, on your memory hem, make sure that that press line matches up too. So for me, it's a lot of line matching. But if you're using a solid or a print or anything like that, you don't have to worry about that. Just make sure that your side seams, the romper seams, the waist and the romper seams match up, and the bottom. And again, if you pressed in that memory hem, make sure that that press line is matching up. Okay. All right. And so what you could do now is you could go to your sewing machine or serger, but what I like to do is kind of make sure that I'm taking as few trips to the sewing machine as possible. So what I'm going to do is actually pin or clip my inseam. So you have your inseam where you constructed your front and rear panels. So what you're going to do is right where that inseam seam is, just match those up and put a pin or clip there. And I'm kind of excited. I mean, it's kind of fun because I have a yellow stripe on both the inseam seams kind of coming together. And then again, I put a clip at the edge right where my memory hem is, so I know that lines up. And then here on the other side. Right where that press line on that the memory hem is. Okay, so now we're going to take it all to our machine. Okay, so let's start with the side seams. And then remember, if you'll remember from doing our back straps, part of the side seam's already done. That's what it's supposed to be. So just kind of start about inch and a half in where that side seam is completed. And then just sew on down. Now remember, we have that elastic in that back casing, so make sure you're, make sure you're catching that. You don't want your elastic to come out and then you got a seam rip and find that elastic and pull that elastic out. I've had to do that, but so I've kind of learned to leave a little overhang on that elastic. Okay, other side. And then we'll move on to the inseam. And then you're basically done. You just got a hem and you are ready to okay, so now on to our inseam. So, you know, we have it pinned already. So it's just gonna take it through real quick. Make sure your middle seams are matched up. Okay, we are all done with that inseam. So flip it right side out, and here is our Firecracker Romper. So you'll remember we pressed that memory hem, so if you notice, it just folds in really nice and it'll make hemming so much easier. I feel like it makes it so much easier when that memory hem's already pressed in. To hem any sort of stretch stitch you want to use, you can use a zigzag stitch if you want. You can use a double needle on your sewing machine, you can use your cover stitch, whatever you would like. So that is the romper version. And so thank you for joining me on sewing the Firecracker Romper.